It's funny though, because I'll tell students where I'm like, look, I wasn't the perfect student. And, when you have those like, some students are very relieved by that in a sense, because it's like, okay, like you don't have to be perfect your whole life to be in a good position. But then I have like kind of the straight A excelling type of students that look at me horrified when I make these statements where it's like, oh God, what type of person is teaching me? Like, what is happening here? So yeah, so I think it's one of those things where people find their balances or lack thereof, and I think it's important in these sorts of regards, right, to find your own personal balances within yourself, but not like be completely like, oh, I can't believe I did this or I didn't do this. Like, everyone's got their own sort of vibe going on, and unfortunately, decaf coffee exists.
I'm never going to live that down. Okay,
Hey.
I want to be her when I grow up. I really do. I want to be Wonder
Yeah.
Woman. I want to be the Amazonian, but I'm like 5'1", so there's that. And
No, no, no. I mean, as look, with enough Latino women in my life, like there's some power in that chancleta. It doesn't matter how big the woman reeling the chancla is. Like there could be what, like that thing becomes like a
Yeah.
heat-seeking missile.
Yeah. And it
it
and
co-
it follows and it boomerangs and
it's the power of the ancestors.
Yeah, the U.S. military needs to look into that like heat-seeking arm technology. Like just the way.
you just it's just the next time we go to war, which probably won't be that far away, we just send all the little abuelitas
No, we're gonna
with the
lose. The
chanclas, and
abuelitas
that's
are
it,
in
like,
Venezuela. They already got the chanclas ready. Like when if not do a ground invasion, just chanclas are going to be coming after the
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
amphibious vehicle. In terms of jobs for philosophers, they are quite what's the word I'm looking for? It is a mill of like your philosophy classes produce philosophers, which produce professors, which produce philosophers. But I teach at the Gen Ed level, which is something I always want to do and love doing because I really love the introducing people to concepts that they otherwise may not ever confront ever again, right? So I very much like that sort of thing. And I love that I have a room full of like nurses and business people and accountants and all that sort of stuff. And all I can hope to do is just add perspective to other people's lives. And I think, if you're not, as if you have to take a gen ed and it can be kind of annoying for your career, like I know oftentimes gen eds can feel like obstacles. Okay, well then what I can do is hopefully teach the class in such a way where you can like pull some value out of it for, yourself. Because also there are things artists may or may not be aiming for. And I guess I'm the type of person who goes, look, the reason you shouldn't aim for something is that at the end of the day, the goal should be make sure that one other person likes your stuff. That's all that should matter, right? Do you first and foremost like it? Great. And if you first and foremost like it, then it is possible that one other person will like it. And if it's possible that one other person will like it, it's possible that two or three or so on. So I think that's sort of the goal, right? That you can't assume that your thing is going to be, hitting all this or all that. I think the end goal is, do you like it? And if you like it, then one other person could like it, and so on and
And
so
so
forth.
forth.
To be a
yeah.
critic, like the whole Squidward line of like everyone's a critic. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's okay. It's okay for everyone to be a critic and, to be like, look, this is how I feel about things. I mean, my go-to example, this is with AI, right? Like I abhor AI, like art and music and just the hyper formulaicness of it, right? I like things that attempt to go outside, the box, right? That attempt to take things in a different direction towards the orthodox, whether that succeeds or fails. So my favorite type of movies are like the classics or the so bad that they're good, right? Because at
Mhm.
least everyone there was, by and large, I should say, was trying something. And yeah, and I think in that regard though, right? Like I see a lot of like the AI writing or art stuff, and I personally don't like it because I just see how mathematized the creative process is, and that's not my preference. Maybe there is someone around that's like, oh, I just need a very just like cogent text. But I guess for me, my taste isn't based around cogency, it's based around surprise.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So right, it kind of just started with like, oh, well, why don't I just come with like a technical term for that, right? Like the assumption of death, the whole like Ben Franklin thing of like there are two guarantees in life, death and
Death and
taxes, right?
taxes.
And so the assumption of death is the assuming like one's non-existence as a certainty. And for me, I wanted to engage with that sort of idea in multitudes of ways, right? So I wanted to engage with it through poetry, through fiction, and through just like more straightforward, like philosophical aphorisms. Because I think if I just wrote like, "Hey, maybe you don't die," or like, "Hey, maybe you die in some ways, but not in others," right? Like that's not
Mhm.
really gonna like capture the idea, and it doesn't really capture the idea of what being gone is.
Like that
And
are interesting.
there's nothing wrong with being a very wide pond, right? And I think the thing is that we live in a society that generally wants us to be a deep lake, and that's cool, right? If you're a deep lake, but being a wide pond, yeah, it may have that failure of like the nuances of a particular thing, but it allows you to touch a lot of
No,
space. It allows you to interact with a lot of people. And it may just be on the surface, but again, there's still a value with having like myriad surface interactions, as opposed to only being able to talk about like a few things, like, with depth. And again, neither are bad or inherently good. They're just, different
they're
things that we
different.
can, yeah, that we can celebrate in the ways that they, can be celebrated. Well, I really appreciate what you said about like death giving meaning to life, because that's one of the things I want to like tackle, that sort of assumption, right? Like I think life can have plenty of meaning in and of itself, right? Like I reference a line from like Emile Chiron where he talks about life being captured by death. And I kind of like flip it where I'm like, no, 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 wait, like death is captured by life, because you could have life without death, but you can't have death without life. Like
Life.
something needs to come to
Okay.
pass, right? And so it's to me, it's that sort of way of like we don't need death to give our lives meaning. We don't need for it to end, right? Lots of people make the statement like, "Oh, what would be the purpose of life if it kept on going?" Well, again, that is also like existential assumptions, and not, not trying
That's
to
a
do all
different
that right now.
that's a different episode.
That's a different rabbit hole. But yeah, I see a lot of people do that, and on my end, I'm like, well, life already provides purpose in of itself potentially, right? And I mean, my goal, in part, amongst many other things, is to be like, okay, well, here's the typical way of thinking about it. But what about this way
This.
of thing? Like remember that dress from years ago?
The
The
Oh, the
white,
blue and black.
the blue and black, white and gold. Yeah.
yeah, right. A lot of the debate was like, well, is it this or is it that? But there was very little like and or thinking about it. And I think even like adding like it is both, it's in both states simultaneously, or it's in both states because different perspectives are seeing
It's
it.
like Schrodinger's dress.
Yes, I have a book called Optimistic Absurdism. Sounds like a very technical title, but the cover's very cute. It is with an independent press who is absolutely great, Wins Publishing. They are fantastic, and that should be out in a few months. But yeah, it's kind of my kind of little baby there, because it's about the kind of the school of philosophy that first got me into philosophy in general.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's kind of the quickest thing that's about. It's like, how does one find happiness when life meaning is uncertain, right? So it's kind of like, an elaboration on like the go-to, like, so you're a philosopher, what's the meaning of life? And rather than, I never give a meaning of life, I don't know if such a thing is the case. So instead, I'm like, oh, well, how could one be happy whether they, can or cannot figure out a meaning of life, whether
Life.
there is. I hope what this book is, it hits that sort of nice range of being like, not like oversimplifying for an audience and not assuming the
Yeah.
dumbness of an audience, but, still hits a lot of like, tough stuff, right? And I try to do that in my own classrooms where it's like, like I will teach grad level material in an intro class, but I try to like convey it in such a way where, intro students could get something out of it. And if my professor is a good indicator, I'm not
I love
hated,
that
and
website.
somebody learned something at least. So
Yay!
many I think I mean, half jokes aside, like, I think so many people have brain cells, but get beat up by, like, jargon, right? Where
Yes.
they just get jargon to hell because, again, that, like, that non-specialization, and so I try in my stuff to be like, "Hey, like, I know you know stuff. Can I put it in such a way where, I'm not talking, about, like, the absolute spirit? Like, how can I, instead of going absolute spirit, how can I simplify a term like phenomenology? Like, how can I make these things, graspable, but I'm not like deviating from what the term
The
is? And
term is.
it's a tough challenge, but I think
Right.
Yeah.
it's something I'm okay at, and this is the most help I've ever gotten, like, on a text. This is the first time I've worked with a publisher that's, like, actually been, like, going through the process, going through the cover, going through the edits with me.
Amazing.
So, my mom and my sister are speech pathologists, so,
Mhm.
I got introduced to disability very early, and then in a sense, like, even though it's, kind of communicative and mental and learning disabilities are very different, obviously, and even calling all of it disability. There's a lot of tracks one can go in disability studies, but my own partner happens to have a mobility, very visible physical disability. So, it like she's been a big inspiration for me to, like, obviously pursue that more because it's like I just see um how much of the world can be an obstacle for such, like, a intelligent, bright, kind person. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, so that's, like, part of, why I think, highlight disability above all, because I think disability advocacy is, important, right? Because it is a group, not just because it's a group that's bigger than people expect, but, just, making the world more accommodating and accessible is just, just beneficial for everybody. It's just
Easiest way.
ways
Just
to Google my full name, Anthony David Vernon, and my full name comes up first, and it's a bunch of stuff that I've done and do, and and you can see my stuff, whether you agree, disagree, like, dislike, it's out there, and if anything I've said's like, oh, he seems not the worst, come Google me. There's plenty of stuff I have online that's free, and you could just find all my work, via just Googling my full name.
Okay, and then we're definitely gonna have you back when Paul Rudd signs on for Default Man.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, on
That
the Default Man book tour.
right.
if we can get in,
And
I
movie
don't know. We're
preview.
hope we don't forget about us little people.
Oh, no, 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 you guys are getting, like, red carpet, VIP
Woo!
access,
Nice.
but the only thing I ask for is don't be like Lady Gaga and wear, like, a meat dress. As a vegetarian,
As
I
a
will be
vegetarian,
quite
I would
offended.
never
I'll
do
be
that.
quite a but if you wear a broccoli dress, that's more than fine by
Okay.
me.
All right.